Hey Snapflash fam, major news from Botswana's political stage this week. The streets of Gaborone were buzzing with excitement after the controversial constitutional amendment bill failed to pass in Parliament. This development is being hailed as a win for democracy, and it's got the nation talking. What exactly went down in Parliament, and why is everyone from civil society groups to opposition members celebrating? Stick around, because we've got the full scoop. Before we dive into the details, make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe to Snapflash for all your latest updates on politics, protests, and more. You don't want to miss this. Major news from Botswana's political stage this week. The streets of Gaborone were buzzing with excitement after the controversial constitutional amendment bill failed to pass in Parliament. Following tense protests outside Parliament on Wednesday, the constitutional amendment bill has officially failed. Out of 40 Botswana Democratic Party (BDP) members present, 37 voted in favor, while 1 opposed the bill, and 2 BDP MPs didn't participate. This result means the amendment fell short of the two-thirds majority needed to pass. As the Speaker of the National Assembly, Fandu Skelemani, declared, this means the bill has failed.
What voted no? Manual what? Okay. We are voting, we are done with the voting. We are announcing the results. And the results are members, even on the lowest denominator, which was 40.92. This is our ideal, which has said it can only be 41. The bill has failed.
The bill's failure came on the heels of intense protests led by Motheo-o-Mosha, an NGO advocating for a new constitution in Botswana. Protesters gathered outside Parliament, demanding the immediate withdrawal of the bill, arguing that it threatened democracy by limiting participation and transparency in the political process. Clashes with the police ensued, as demonstrators were prevented from reaching Parliament. BOCONGO Chairperson Kelemi celebrated the bill's failure, calling it a victory for Botswana's active and strong civil society. Kelemi emphasized how BOCONGO had repeatedly attempted to engage with Minister Kabo Morwaeng, seeking full participation in the amendment process, but had been ignored.
But I just want to reiterate a few things about this process and what it means for us as civil society. We all know that the Constitution Amendment Bill of 2024, number 4, failed in Parliament. And for the first time, I have been working in the civil society for a very long time, and most of the time we talk about attribution. And I want to take this opportunity to confirm that indeed the failure of the bill to go through in Parliament is a result of civil society action. And we must be very proud of ourselves and the work that we have done. From the beginning of the process, BOCONGO has always reiterated that we want a process that is inclusive. We say inclusive because we are the ones who work with communities. We know our communities' needs, and we also know their challenges. And therefore, that is why inclusivity was very important to us. And as we have maintained, the process, according to us, was not inclusive. We have also lamented that we want a constitutional review process to be participatory. And we have maintained our stance, and we still do, even this morning, to say we want to see a process that is participatory. We've also maintained that we want to see a process that is people-centered. And we reiterate that what has happened, in our view, was not people-centered, because the interests of the people were not put at the forefront in the way that we would have expected. We have extended a hand to government to say, as civil society, we believe we are a partner in development, but most importantly, we play a critical role in a democratic state as our own. And therefore, civil society participation cannot be wished away and cannot be understated. So we have since had a meeting with Honorable Minister of State President Morwaeng. And we have offered that as civil society, we want to be engaged, but not just be engaged as a matter of tokenism. We want to be engaged meaningfully, understanding that we bring to the table very critical issues that come from the community. A lot of times our voice as civil society has been questioned, and I want to take this opportunity to remind those who may have, I'm trying to find the most diplomatic word, have forgotten who we are. When civil society speaks, when BOCONGO speaks, it's the people's voice, and it has to be respected as such.
In an interview with the Botswana Gazette, Unity Dow, a former BDP legislator now aligned with the opposition Botswana Congress Party, praised the bill's defeat, calling it a huge success for democracy. Dow, a lawyer and human rights activist, argued that the bill was about shrinking democratic spaces rather than expanding them.
The will of the people prevailed. It is beautiful because Botswana were resolute. They came to parliament, but they were very determined, they want to be here when this very important step is taken. I'm pleased that the bill failed. And also, you know, it's not just any bill. It is the attempt to amend the constitution in a very fundamental way. You know, giving more powers to the office of the president, increasing basically the powers of the executive. You know, one of the things that we don't quite appreciate is that even though we have three arms of government, the executive is the most powerful. And there's nothing wrong with that, because somebody has to run the country, so the executive must run the country. But it is important that in running that country, there must be clear rules and regulations, they guide that. And one of the things that we don't have that. I'll give you a very simple example. You know, we say that the president will appoint the attorney general. Beautiful, there's no problem with that. But in other countries, then the how they are going to appoint them is very important. We don't have the how in many of our laws. We know that the executive in the person of the president appoints ambassadors, for example, but there's no how. And what this bill was doing, when it was doing the how in some of these areas, was giving more powers. So the whole idea of a new constitution, a 2024 constitution, a modern constitution, is actually a constitution that actually looks at the powers of the executive and say, how can we frame them in such a way that we expand, not shrink democracy? So for me, this constitution was a constitution, or this bill was shrinking democracy and not expanding it. Thank you.
On the other side of the debate, Minister of State President Kabo Morwaeng continues to defend the bill, arguing that it was a progressive move for Botswana and offered important rights to citizens. Despite its failure, Morwaeng is standing by the bill's merits.
How buaka di rights, fundamental rights, ne reletsa gore tshwanelo right ya health, botsogo inne mo motheo. Ka rona so se is highly progressive. Ne re eleditse gore mo tsamaisong ya legatse la rona mo molao motheong wa rona kanya education in the a right, fundamental right. Honemo ka rona ene hole very progressive. Ka rona ne re eleditse gore mo billing yone ya rona ene re tla ka yone ne re eleditse gore go bereka inne tshwanelo le yone inne a right. So kana ha re bua ka tshwanelo ya thuto as a right, thuto tsa botsogo le tsa go bereka, tsone tse tharo tse ke di baile sekai ke di tshwanelo tse leng gore ka rona the bill was very, very progressive. In ne re tla ka diphetogo tse e leng gore ka rona Batswana ba ntse ba di eletsa. Batswana ba buile ka tsone. Mme gone mo ke ne re eleditse jalo ebile Batswana ba tshwentse ba itse gore that's what was included. That what was in the bill. Yone e leng gore bangwe maabane ha re tlhopha bana ba tsa tshwetso ya gore bone ga ba di tsene. Ga ba tsene kgang ya gore re tsenye mo constitutioneng ya lehatshe kgang ya botsogo le education le go bereka gore go nne mo molao motheo. Nna ne re dumela jalo ebile re ntse re dumela yalo gore Parliament e dinaile Batswana tshwanelo tse di botlhokwa thata tsone tse tharotse. They are very basic. Mpolella gore ke mo go more progressive ha re bua ka go tsenya health, education le go bereka.
Leader of the opposition, Dithapelo Keorapetse, also spoke out, saying that Botswana is witnessing a concerning shrinkage in its democratic space, both in parliament and across the nation. Keorapetse sees this as an ongoing struggle to ensure freedom and fairness in the political landscape.
The 12th Parliament, we have seen a shrink in the democratic space, both in Parliament and in the country. I'll start with yesterday's example, constitutional review. We have asked, when they started, that, look, the method of constitutional review cannot be done in the manner that they sought to do. In terms of the Commissions of Inquiries Act, the President is one of the regressive laws in the country. The President, under that law, is empowered to appoint a Commission of Inquiry on any matter. He is the one who puts the chairman, decides whether there's the deputy chairman, and will appoint that deputy chairman, appoints commissioners single-handedly, and decides when it will start its job and when it will finish. The law says that whilst it is still, inquiring, he can even stop it and say, no, this is where you end. He drafts the terms of reference for the commission and directs whether it will sit in private or in public, whether it sits in camera or in public. And then, once it has done its job, it is up to him when he receives the report whether to publish it or to make it confidential, make it his own report alone. Even acting on the report is up to him whether government will act on the report. I'll give you an example of the Saturday Commission. We know that the report was public. The Kabo Commission, the Christie Commission, the reports were public. Motheo Commission remains secret on the land disease slaughter campaign in the Ngamiland. It remains secret. So, for the president to invoke the provisions of the Commissions of Inquiries Act to kickstart or as the main platform to review the Constitution was wrong, in the sense that it's a clearly undemocratic law which gives power to only one person. So we objected from the beginning. And we said, as the UDC, we're not going to participate as a political party, because we knew from the very beginning that this was an undemocratic process. But nevertheless, we attended the Kota meetings as members of parliament, and the public, we encourage the public to go and listen, so that tomorrow they don't say we deprive them of an opportunity to go and interact. So by the and they were clear, we want direct election of the president. It didn't happen. They said we want second generation of human rights. We want land rights. We want water and electricity to be rights enshrined in the Constitution. We want education and health to be enshrined in the Constitution. The right to be employed must be in the Constitution. And so on and so forth. They said, both specially elected, that there was a lot of money being spent on specially elected members of parliament and councillors. All these things were not incorporated into the report and the white paper and the bill. What we saw was what the government sought to give with the right hand in terms of second generation of human rights, the right to withdraw labor, the right to be employed, the right to education, and the right to health. But the same bill took away that which it gave with the right hand back with the left hand by imposing restrictions. What kind of a right is that? What kind of a right is that? So we objected from the beginning on the process and even on the substantive, but the government did not listen. So it's just one example how the democratic space shrank. We knew yesterday, even when we were working out, that they will not get the 2/3 majority. We even knew from their side that they were not together. Many people were shocked that 37 voted. Actually, our expectation was that that number should have been less than 35. Because we know, we have conversations with them. Some of them are our close associates from the past and present. We know how they feel about, or they felt about that bill. So actually 37 is a huge number for us. And of course, if they cannot treat other people with decency and respect, I mean, if they cannot treat their own with respect, what more do you expect of others? So there are those who are disgruntled about the decisions on the primaries. There are those who are disgruntled because of how they were treated in the past. And no one expected them to vote with the ruling party yesterday. So we knew, even when the two were there, the arithmetic could simply not add up.
So, Snap Flash viewers, what are your thoughts on this big moment in Botswana's democracy? Is this truly a win for the people? Or could the bill have offered some benefits? Let us know what you think in the comments. If you found this update insightful, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more updates on Botswana's political landscape and more Snap Flash exclusives. That's all for now, Snap Flash fam. Stay tuned for more breaking news and engaging stories from around the globe. Until next time, keep questioning and stay informed.